The High Court in Pretoria has ordered former President Jacob Zuma should go back to jail. It ruled that the former National Commissioner of Correctional Services, Fraser's decision to place Zuma on medical parole was unlawful. Let's get more detail now around this judgment. Our colleagues working themselves to death to try and give us a clear picture of the reasoning behind this judgment. Athi Mtongana is our reporter joining us now to tell us more about what's coming out of this judgment. Athi, this judgment landing whilst some of us are on air, what have you been able to read from it that gives justification as to why the judges reached the conclusion they have?
For sure, Goli, quite a long judgment to say the least. But what we certainly do know at this stage is, of course, that the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria has essentially ruled that the former Correctional Services Commissioner, Fraser's decision to place former President Jacob Zuma on medical parole in less than 2 months of him serving his sentence is unlawful, and therefore essentially saying that he should go back to jail. We know that shortly after this decision of placing former President Jacob Zuma on medical parole, there were several organizations, including political parties like the Democratic Alliance, that protested against former President Jacob Zuma being placed on medical parole on the 10th of September, to be exact. I just want to read to you some of the extracts from this very long judgment. We know that on the 10th of September this year that the DA brought an urgent application seeking, among other things, that the parole decision is declared unlawful. We also know that the Helen Suzman Foundation also lodged a similar urgent application, also questioning why former President Jacob Zuma was placed on medical parole in less than 2 months of him serving his sentence. But I just also want to read to you the introduction of this very long judgment, which obviously gives you an indication then of what this particular judgment means for former President Jacob Zuma. It says, open quote, that this matter is an alleged unlawful exercise. Just the wording of it all tells you what this entire judgment then means for former president being out on medical parole, which is now essentially deemed unlawful. So open quote, that this matter concerns an alleged unlawful exercise of public power that undermines the constitutional court's order granted to vindicate the rule of law and to protect the administration of judgment. It also then raises an important legal issue concerning the nature of the power to consider and to also determine the applications for medical parole and the role of the Medical Parole Advisory Board. So, close quote. So, in a nutshell, what we know is that the decision by former Correctional Services Commissioner Athi Fraser to place former President Jacob Zuma on medical parole was an unlawful exercise, and it also raises several legal issues brought forward by the several applicants who brought these applications before the court, seeking clarity and seeking that this decision be declared unlawful. AfriForum is also one of those organizations which approached the court similarly to the Democratic Alliance and the Helen Suzman Foundation.
Athi Mtongana giving us snippets of that judgment and, importantly, the reasoning for the judges deciding to rule in this manner. This is one story that is certainly going to dominate the day.